Hey y'all, it's Brett here with Hidden Creek Connection. We are back with your weekly updates. These videos are going to help you out with your wedding planning tips and tricks. So this week we're going to talk about wedding invites and your save the dates. So who do you send them to? When do you send them? All that kind of good stuff. Stay tuned and we're going to talk about that. Okay, so first let's talk about your save the dates. That is what you send out first. So typically your save the dates are going to be between 6 and 8 months before your wedding. A save the date is something that you send to your family and friends who are gonna be invited to the wedding. You're only sending save the dates to people that you fully intend to send an invitation to as well. Don't send save the dates to some random Joe Schmo that you're not inviting to the wedding. Only send save the dates to those people who you're going to invite later on. So your save the date is sending the message to your guest of, hey, we're having a wedding, we're engaged, yay, save this date for our wedding. So you're sending that out between 6 and 8 months in advance because people need to make travel arrangements, they need to take off work. Some people are gonna need to find babysitters for their kids. If you're having a destination wedding, some people are gonna need to get a passport. All these kinds of things, you're needing to give people ample time to take off work and have plenty of time to make these arrangements. When you send the save the date, you are sending that message, but you are also sending them a, hey, by the way, you're gonna be invited. So remember, only send these to those people. Also, your save the date does not have to match the theme of your wedding. So a lot of times, 6 to 8 months before the wedding, you might not have decided on your theme yet. Maybe you just got engaged, maybe you just picked your venue. So your save the date is really just an announcement card. It doesn't have to match your wedding theme. It's not telling people how formal it's gonna be. You're not telling people the ceremony time. You're strictly only telling them the date. Now, it's really cute, in my opinion, to go ahead and do your engagement photos and to put a photo of the two of you on your save the date. I just think it's really cute to show off your bling and, cute little kissy pose and put that on the card so people get that image of y'all together and they feel that love. You can also just put a simple design on it. It's no big deal. You're gonna send a formal invitation later. Now, the formal wedding invitation, you are gonna send that between 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding. I would really, really encourage you to do the 8 weeks. 6 to me is really pushing it. I would try and at least do the 8 weeks. So the wedding invitation, you are gonna wanna make sure that you put not only the date, but also the ceremony time. You're also gonna wanna put the location. So the invite is basically telling them where to go and when to show up. If you want to put on the bottom of your invitation your website, if you've made your website through the Knot or Minted, there's so many different forums where you can make your couple's website. You can definitely put that at the bottom of your wedding invitation. I would not put places that you're registered on your invitation. It seems a little bit tacky, like maybe you're asking for a gift, like they have to. So if you want to, I'd put a little insert card behind the invitation with where you're registered, or just put where you're registered on your wedding website. Don't put it on the actual invitation because the invitation is supposed to be very formal. Also, with your wedding invitation, that does need to match the theme of your wedding. When people get the invitation in the mail, that's gonna kind of help them figure out how they're gonna dress for the event. So if it's a very formal event and you want people to be in black tie, make sure you have a formal invitation. If you're having a very casual, rustic, laid-back wedding, then your invitation should also match that. Make sure that you are addressing these invitations to the people you're inviting. Let me say this again. To the people you're inviting. Don't just put on the invitation the Smith family, Because if I'm the Smith family and I get that invitation in the mail, I think, oh, my whole family's invited. Me, my husband, and all 4 of our kids, we're all invited. If you only meant to invite the husband and wife, you need to put Mr. and Mrs. so-and-so Smith, or, Denise Smith and Brad Smith. Whoever their names are, list that on the invitation. If you're including the kids in that invite, then you should list every single person's name on that invite. Make it very, very clear. You can also put on the invite, Denise Smith plus guest, if you're allowing them to bring a date. If you don't put Denise Smith and guest, then traditionally that means that you are inviting that person and that person alone, and that they are not allowed to bring a +1. If you do want them to be allowed to bring a guest, make sure you're adding their name and guest. Also, another way to do it is on the actual invitation card, you can put the number of people that you have reserved the seats for. So you could put 2 seats have been reserved for you at the Brown wedding. And then they know, okay, we got 2 invites. That's how many people we can attend. Or you can put 4 if they have, a family, however many people you want them to bring. Put that little number on there. That way it's being very, very clear. This is how many seats are reserved for you. This is how many meals we have ordered for you. Don't bring any more than that number. Or you can just go ahead and list out the names. Just make sure you're being super specific, because if you're having an adult-only wedding and you don't want kids to attend, you're gonna have to list out the names. People are just gonna assume that they can bring your kids unless you specifically write the names on that invite. Also, a little tip that I have learned is to number your invites and then keep a piece of paper at home with the number that you put on the invite and their name. I found when I got married, a ton of people forgot to write their name back on the card when they mailed it back to me. So I was getting cards that said, yes, we're attending, 2 people attending, but it didn't have a name. And I was like, so who's coming? I know people are coming, but who are you? So if you put on your little invitation that they're gonna mail back the RSVP card, put on that card number 1, 2, 3, 4 as you're sending them out, and write down the name, so that way when you get it back, you see, oh, there's a little number 3 in the corner. 3 on my list corresponds to this person. That's who RSVP'd. And then you already know. That will be a huge help keeping you organized, especially if you are gonna do a seating chart. You have to know those people's names, and a lot of time they're gonna forget to put that form on there. So another thing to keep in mind too is that unfortunately, people do not always send back RSVPs. Whether they are saying yes or no, it's a mystery, because they just don't send them back a lot of times. So you're unfortunately gonna have to call people and say, hey, we didn't receive your RSVP. Are you gonna be able to attend? Keep that in mind. That's why you really wanna plan for plenty of time before the wedding to get those RSVPs back. So that way you have about a week to make those calls. On your invitations, you're gonna wanna put, please RSVP by. And you're gonna put a date on there that you want them to return that information to you by. Put at least 3 weeks before your wedding date. The reason you need those 3 weeks is you're gonna have to let the caterer know, your venue know, all these people who are helping set up and decorate, how many tables you need, all that kind of good stuff. You have to know how many people are coming. So give yourself at least 3 weeks to get that number back so you can make those final arrangements for that exact number. Also, that gives you a week of little leeway time to make those phone calls for the people who just forgot to RSVP back. Okay, so on your invitation, you should also list your wedding website if you have one. I do really recommend that you make a wedding website. They are going to be a lifesaver, because on your invitation, you only have that much space to get your message out. On a website, you have as much space as you need to. For your website, you can post pictures, you can put like a little map location, so that way people can find the venue. You can put hotel recommendations, you can put where you've set your block of rooms for, you can put your registry information, all that kind of good stuff can go on your website. So I would really, really encourage you to make one. It's gonna be a lifesaver. You can also do online RSVPs, which is really cool because in our world of technology nowadays, a lot of people don't want to have to formally fill out that form and mail it back. They just want to be able to click a button online and say yes or no. So if you do paper RSVPs and online, you have a much better chance of getting more of your answers back. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That way we know we're doing a good job. You can also subscribe to our channel. And I will also link down below our website if you are interested in learning more about Hidden Creek. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.